Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Ranking the Albums. And in the co-captain's chair, once again, Mr. Grant Arthur from Grant's Rock Warehouse and the Contrarians. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, nice to be here once again. It's always fun to talk music with you, Pete. I look forward to this
Isn't it
because,
interesting how you and I last spoke just as I was getting COVID, and now
yeah,
you and I are speaking once again as I'm hopefully saying goodbye to it?
yes, you sound a lot better.
Yeah, a bit better. Yeah, yeah, I'm getting there.
Because I must say that the previous show, although you rallied,
I was struggling.
you were struggling, but you are a professional and it's all about and the music brought you back out.
Brings me back.
So
Yep.
it brings you
Brings me
back.
back out. Yep, for sure.
But this band will change well, go ahead. I'll let you start talking about it because
Uh,
I'm
so
all worked up.
Yes,
So
Grant and I were already chit-chatting before we started recording, and we're just dying to talk about this band that, quite frankly, up until a couple of months ago, I never heard of before. This is one of those obscure Canadian bands from the late 70s into the early 80s that formed from another band that I never heard of, and now I really want to listen to them. So the band is The Hunt, okay, which they had three studio albums. They formed from the ashes of a band called Dillinger, who had two albums. Now, from what I understand, again, I haven't dived into their music yet. Dillinger is kind of a different beast, a little more proggy, a little more pomp, and then you get to The Hunt, and it's still a little prog, maybe on the first album, a little pomp, but a lot of really good hard rock on, especially on the second two albums.
yeah.
Lots of good hooks, roaring guitars, and if you love like 70s bands, I don't know. I'm not going to throw out all sorts of other comparisons yet because
We'll get there
we'll get there. But
because
really good band.
when you listen to this band and you talk about them, there's all kinds of influences that you particularly see on that first record.
Yes.
Now, as they go through the catalog, I hear what
Other
I hear.
things,
I
right?
hear less influences and I hear exactly probably what the Hunt sounds like. Now,
Yeah.
is that good or bad? Well, we'll find out.
I don't know. But yeah, lots of influences. But from album to album, the influences to me change a little bit. And yeah, and then once you get to the third and final album, you're like, oh, is this really what this band is all about? And then they're gone, right? So
I haven't heard Dillinger, but from what I understand, because Dan Goucher, who is a follower of you, who is a follower of me, who follows Contrarians. We're all in a happy family over here in the Sea of Tranquility world. He's the one who turned me on to the Hunt. Now he's turned me on to many other bands, and he's always been right. So he said, "Grant, you've got to hear the Hunt," and I went, "Okay." I didn't even listen to him. I trust the guy. I got him and I was blown away. And then I told you about it because I was so blown away by it. And I knew the Hunt would be right up your alley. Oh my God. If this isn't up your alley, Pete, I don't know what would be.
and it's absolutely correct. Yeah.
But he has Dillinger and he says they're very proggy and really worthy of listening to them as well.
Okay.
Because when I listened to that first album, we're not there yet. I think it's there. You mentioned there's a lot of prog elements. There's a lot of elements. There's wait till we get to that record. But there are still a lot of prog on there. So it's almost like Dillinger. I'm assuming it's like some of it's like a leftover, not a leftover, but a continuation from Dillinger.
Yeah,
I'm
because
assuming.
yeah, because I think a couple of the guys who were in the Dillinger band who also were in the band for the first Hunt album then fall by the wayside by the time the second album comes out. So I think that that has to do with the influences of those guys being in both Dillinger and the first incarnation of the Hunts. I think because I think there starts to be a difference in sound with the second album and certainly the third from the first album. So from what I've heard, again, from what people have said, not what I've listened to, that the first Hunt album is more similar to those two Dillinger records. And I think there's like an 18-minute long song on either the first or the second Dillinger album, which of
Mhm.
course piques my interest, right? So yeah, so I think that maybe we'll talk about Dillinger another day, another time, when Grant and I have had the opportunity to go investigate that little catalog
It
because
certainly makes you want to go down that road and see what they were about based on this catalog and how strong it is.
yeah,
Uh, but by the time you get to the third album, we've had a lot of lineup changes. You lose your original lead singer and because I don't have my list up and I don't know this band. Like, this is new for both of us. So it's not like I have it all in my brain. But
And it's so
Carl,
funny
what
because I listed I was talking to Martin earlier and I was like, oh yeah, Grant and I are doing a show on the Hunt. And he goes, oh yeah, the Hunt. And he goes, and then he rattled off like five other obscure Canadian bands that I've never heard of before. I'm like, there's a lot of them.
there's
The
a
Hunt
lot
is
of
just
great
is tip
obscure
of the iceberg.
Canadian bands.
Yeah, there really
But
is.
like on the third album, Brian Gagnon,
Gagnon, yep.
okay, he was replaced by a singer Carl Calvert. So the lineups have changed, and by the time you got to that third album, the only person who's really there is Paul still the guitar player?
Paul well,
Paul Dickinson.
I think Paul Kersey, the drummer, I think is the only
Okay.
surviving member by the
Yeah,
third.
they got a new guitar player,
Yeah.
but Paul's the one who was in Dillinger and basically started the Hunt. So there's been a lot of lineup changes, but there's one thing that does remain the same is the sound of the band.
Yeah.
For all the lineup changes, you can listen to that first Hunt album, listen to the third one, and you go, oh yeah, that's the Hunt. Isn't that something though?
Yeah, it still sounds like the Hunt, maybe a little heavier, right? Maybe a little less proggy, but yeah, it still sounds like the same band. Go
Okay.
figure.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
So we only got three albums. So this wasn't a monumental task. What was hard though is trying to figure out how to rank them because to me, all three albums, while they do all sound like the Hunt, I think all three have a unique element to them that separates them from the others. But to me, they're all equally good. So I had a really hard time ranking these. So in the end, it really doesn't matter how they're ranked. We're just talking about a really cool, obscure band that I think you guys need to be aware of. So, with all that being said, Grant, kick us off in
All
your
right.
number three.
And I agree with you 100% because I could not, my ranking changed this morning. Okay, I had time this morning. I thought I'm going to go through them one more time and see where they land. Because the more you take in, of course, you start picking things out. All of them are equally as strong. They're just different. But is one record that I just think is just absolutely, oh, I just absolutely love it. But I love them all. So if you're getting into this catalog, first of all, anybody watching this show, please check them out. If you like physical media, pick anything. There is even a best of out there. I'm assuming it's still in print. You may want to sample that. But if you like obscure Canadian hard rock, prog, I'm sorry, but I'm like a giddy schoolgirl today. Check this band out. Pete and I swear. So let me get started. Now, I love them all equally, but I guess I'll go with the third album. And the only reason I'm going to go with the Thrill of the Kill as third is because really it's a drummer who's the only one that's left. The original singer Brian's gone, and we'll talk about Brian. And oh, I can hardly wait to get into this, Pete. So Brian's gone, replaced by Carl Calvert. Now, Carl's a good singer. There you go. We got the props. I don't even have to hold mine up. You've got a very anthemic album. It's hard rock. At times, it verges. If you took this record, you push him up. This came out in 82.
Me too,
Push
yeah.
it up to 84. There's a lot of things you could push this band into heavy metal territory. Now,
Yes.
if this band had a fourth album, I know exactly where they would have ended up. The thing about this band, it wouldn't be hard to push in there. These guys, in my mind, could have been gigantic because they check all the boxes. Melodic, heavy, soaring guitars, great vocals. And as they went through their catalog, they kind of honed things in. Did they become more commercial? Not really so much, but it's just different. All these albums are equally good, but they could not find any success. Evidently, what I read that they were pretty big in Texas, but in Canada, virtually ignored.
Yeah.
Now, you can't sustain yourself purely on Texas. These guys tried from 77 to 82 to make it big, and it never happened. So after the third album, they called it a day, and I think everybody got day jobs. But the musicianship in this band's top notch. Everything is top. How it could not hit, I don't know, but maybe it was timing. It's 77 when the first one came out. That's pretty proggy.
Yeah.
82, I mean, it is hard. This is hard rock. There are still little prog elements here or there, but very little. It's almost like water. I don't want to use the term watered down uh hunt, but you could probably use that. Let's just look at some tracks. This album starts off with Show the World, or should we say Showed the Woad, the way he sings it. I'm sitting there when I originally heard that song, I'm going, what the hell is he saying? And I had to go back and look. I went, oh yeah, but he's going whoa, weird. This continues on right where the second album left off. I think Carl's a good replacement for Brian. You got heavy, catchy, crunchy guitars, tight production, bit more commercial, but this whole album rocks hard. And Pete, you're a guitar guy. What do you think of the guitar sounds on this record?
Ferocious.
Ferocious.
Yeah. When I talk about this album, I'm going to bring up a couple of comparisons because there are some who I think would listen to this album and think the production is harsh because the guitar is so upfront and so like distorted to the point where it's the star of the show. And I think that the vocals, which are great, take a little bit of a back seat. But what I love about it is the ferociousness of the
It's
production of the
ferocious.
guitar. It's
The
just it's
thing is on this record that I wish Carl was up in the mix more.
yeah,
The guitar is the star of the show on this one. Oh,
yeah.
of course, the drums. And we need to talk about the drumming on these records, and we'll get to it. This is almost more than a ranking, like a career retrospective, because how do we rank this stuff? It's just two schoolgirls or less girls are just getting all worked up because it's such a great record. Uh, anyway, starts off good. I'm in because I'm going, hey, this is part two of the second album. I'm in. You in the Night. You'll notice there's always like one track on these Hunt albums that gallop along like it's an Iron Maiden outtake. Now I hear and the gallop starts right in. This and what I hear, this is how I hear Carl. He's in that Don Dockett pocket of singers. I hear You Are the Night. You've got Iron Maiden mixed with Dokken. I swear to God, he sounds like Don Dokken to me. And I love Don Dokken. Don Dokken in his prime.
Great.
Come on, look at those Dokken albums. Great, right? Dokken's in another category. I put them and Rat in another category. This is like that. This is essentially Dokken mixed with Maiden. That's how I hear it. It's just as good as what came before, only it's different. Time goes on. The drums, the way the drums lead this track off. Oh my God, this sounds as good as any pop rock band that we've ever talked about or looked at. The backgrounds are wonderful. They're thick. And I wrote on here, Paul Dickinson is one hell of a guitar player.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Jesus. And he only sounds like him. I don't know any other person sounds like Paul.
I would
Do you?
agree. I didn't. Yeah, as I was listening to these, a lot of times you say, this guy sounds like this guy or that guy. None of that here because he's got his own unique kind of style, and maybe from a production standpoint, you can think of other albums that sound similar from a guitar perspective, but not the way he's playing at all.
No, I love it. And it's right up front. Hey man, if you like guitar, this is a guy you need to check out. If you're a guitar player, you like hard rock, this is a guy no one knows.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. As you can tell. Fourth track is Fire. And yes, it's the Arthur Brown classic. Only they rework it. You've got the sound effects of fire in the beginning. You've got, I swear to God, the devil comes in on background vocals during part of it. But it's fun. Is it better than the Arthur Brown original? It's different take. I think it works. And I noticed that all the cover songs that the Hunt do, and we'll get into it, they make every cover song that they do their own. They even do the Beatles, and I don't like Beatle covers, but I'm listening to this and I'm going, that's pretty damn good. The only other Beatle cover that I really like is "Come Together" by Aerosmith, because I think that they absolutely come on. I think that's almost on par with the Beatles. I think "Come Together" by Aerosmith, awesome. All
Great.
right, I'm on a tangent. Yep, Pete, you're gonna have to bear with me on this. I like this. See it through. We're back to rocking now, because I don't think that Fire, yeah, it's hard rock, I guess, but Seeing Through sounds like Dokken again. It's much more mainstream compared to what came before. But man, if they kept on this trajectory, I could see where they're going.
So do you hear in Seeing It Through
Yeah,
what I hear, and I like the way you say a little more commercial. I hear like early heavy Loverboy, also a
yeah,
Canadian band.
yep. I think these all of these Canadian bands kind of influence each other.
Probably.
But like you said, Martin said he started naming off all these obscure Canadian bands. That sounds like a series in itself, because look at all these bizarre, these obscure Canadian bands. You could do like a series on that, try to turn people onto stuff.
Yeah.
But this is one of those bands. Great Divide, heavy guitar from Paul. And I wrote, this is where I wrote, if they would have kept going, they could have been a straight metal band and they could have dominated, because they got great songs, great riffs, and strong melodies. Check, check, check. Uh, Hill, we gallop again. Heavy guitar, strong vocals from Carl. Hard luck story. Another hard rock track. It's catchy. A metal band if they pushed it. Give it up. This riff. Hey, we've got a basic rock and roll song from The Hunt. Uh, it's hey, they make it The Hunt. I think it's great. They can do basic rock and roll.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is probably the first time they did it, but they can pull it off. And then, like, we'll see with all the other albums. The final track, Wishing Well, another acoustic track. They always have acoustic tracks at the end of the record. And it's reflective. Carl on this one kills. And would you consider this a power ballad?
I absolutely
Maybe.
would. I
It
absolutely
is
would.
stunning.
Yeah.
This is the swan song. This is the end. They didn't do anything else after this. This is a 5 out of 5 album for me, easy. They're all 5 out of 5s. It's just a different version of The Hunt, and it works. So that's my number three. It's really not my number three, but I'm leading off with that.
Yeah. It's my number three as well. And I really wanted to rank it higher. And you know why I didn't rank it higher, Grant? Because
The version of Fire.
I don't like the cover of Fire.
Okay.
To me, I think their Beatles cover, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes, I think is way better. I'm all for doing something completely different with a cover because that's the way it should be. You shouldn't do a cover song of a classic and do it exactly the same. This just sounds kind of weird on this album to me. It just to
Well,
me
I don't think it fits.
it doesn't fit on the album at all. Give him credit for doing something different with it, yes. But I just don't think it fits on the album. It kind of breaks the momentum because I think everything else on here is great. Like I talked about, the guitar tones are ferocious on this album. You know, Steve Vaughan produced this. You know what the production of this album reminds me of? I'm not sure if you're familiar with the band, but there's this really cool another band who only had a couple albums from the 80s, an American band called Icon. And
Yeah, I've got those CDs.
their very first album is harsh and distorted. That's what this sounds like. I don't mind that at all. I think that if you just love that big, heavy, distorted, just
He's
nasty guitar tone,
he's almost in Randy Rhoads territory.
right? Especially like the first like the Blizzard of Oz album. Yeah, that's kind of where this is at. And it's just it's practically metal. And there's
It's
just some great stuff on here. I mean, Show the World is so good. You and the Night. I mean, you've mentioned all the songs. It's just so good. Time Goes
yeah.
On. It's just so raunchy. And even like Wishing Well, which kind of ends the album on like a little mellower note, it's a great early power ballad. And it's just so catchy. It's so good. I think this is a completely smoking album. Like I said, I only ranked it number three because I don't like the cover of Fire, but I could easily say this is my number two or my number one.
Oh, well, yeah.
I really struggled with this because all three of these albums are so good, and yet each one of them sounds a little bit different than the one that came before or after it. So yeah, I would say if you want the heavier stuff, this is the one you got to get. The vocals are great. It's just a good hard rock, bordering on metal album that I think will surprise a lot of people because I love stuff like this. And the fact that I never heard this band before, hey, yay me for discovering something like this all these years later. So
And that's what I
we have
like.
to thank our friend for introducing us to this band,
Yeah.
right?
Dan, thank you very much.
Yes.
But, Gary's been talking about it. Everybody's been bringing up, when are you guys doing the hunt? When are you doing the hunt? I said, hold on. Everybody's all excited. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
And here you are, we're delivering because it is something I know I'm giddy, but I swear to God, please check this band out. Give them some love. Why they did not make it back in the day. If I heard them back in the day, Pete, I would have been swept off my feet.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
Anyway, well,
Look, there's our third one.
that's our third one. Look at how much we're talking. Yeah. So now on to number two. Number two is
Okay,
probably gonna be
on
pretty
to number.
special, I would think, right?
Huh? What's that?
I said number two's got to be pretty special as well, right?
Well,
Sure.
they're all the same to me. They're
Yeah.
just different.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said before, I went through them again just to double check, and I had to switch things around. But whatever, it's fine. This record, I think people primarily think is their best record. Maybe it's a bit more mature. This came out in 1980, more polished, tighter songwriting, I guess. Um, but now you're down to a power trio.
Yep.
Uh, we had some lineup changes. So now we've got Paul, Brian, and Paul Kersey. And we're going to go with the second album,
And look at
Back
that artwork.
on the
Pretty damn
Hunt.
cool, huh?
It's
That looks like
the
a heavy
best
metal album
artwork
to
of
me.
all of them. The
Ah,
logo, I'm not crazy about, but
no.
I like the album because the album artwork on all these are questionable. Actually, this one's not. I don't mind this so much, but
No.
it's totally different than, you know, Back on the Hunt. So we've hit 1980. Now a power trio. Now this band has a little bit different sound. It's much more of this isn't heavy metal.
Interestingly enough, though, produced by the same guy. But the production on the third album and this album don't sound anything alike.
No.
Steve Vaughan's the same guy. Go
Yeah,
figure.
I don't know. I
I
don't
just
know.
realized that now.
But it's not any worse. It's not any better.
No, it's just different.
This came out on Daffodil Records. All the records came out on Daffodil. In fact, these reissues I think are on Daffodil. Uh,
Yeah.
1980. They never, like I said, they only had a very small fan base in Canada still at this time. I think that they had some recognition in Texas at this time. Maybe not, maybe so. I don't know. I don't remember. Someone in the comments could probably tell us. But this is number two, even though it could be number one on another day. If we only had tried heavier, less proggy, soaring guitars, riffs that go on forever, super strong songwriting. As a power trio, there's a lot of power here.
Oh, yeah.
Standing on the road, and this is where I wrote my notes. At this point, this is where I start to think that the Hunt really does sound like this, as opposed to that first album. Um, is the and I really love. Well, we'll see. The first album I put number one, obviously, but is this as fun as the first album? Because I think that the first album really is a lot of fun, and we'll get to that. It's not as fun. We're down to a power trio. It is on par with the first album. This album, I did have to chuckle because on Standing on the Road, there are hand claps, kind of like the Cars. I'm going, well, what is going on here? I don't know. It easily could be an anthem, but I love it. Little Bit of Love, we have a free cover, which it fits right in. I think it sounds totally like The Hunt. I hear some Mellotron. I hear a hit single here, maybe, if they could only have one.
Yeah.
But I think they do a good job. We'll have to wait till to see what Pete says if it passes his th hand stamp of approval. She Flew Freely, riffs out the yin yang, ladies and gentlemen, heavy and rocking. You know what it also reminds me of? This is a younger band that's probably come around in the last 10 years, and they are all young kids. I bet Greta Van Fleet listened to a lot of this because I swear to God, I hear Greta Van Fleet
If
on
you
here.
listen to them, they never listen to anything. So, who knows? But
Yeah, but come on. It sounds very Hunt-like. Uh, I have no issues with Greta Van Fleet either.
I don't even.
I think they're fine. Thank God they're carrying the flag.
Sounds
Uh,
good.
I hear Mellotron. I hear a lot of overdubbed guitars, nice and thick. And as we know, Paul has that distinct sound. So it's kind of like that Queen thing, when Brian May uh layers all of his guitars, it's just like a wall of Brian. Kind of have something like this here. He doesn't sound like Brian, but you know what I mean. Heartbender, most subdued track here on the record. It's almost spoken word. It's pump sounding, great riff. I hear a little of that Yes bass in the background because we haven't hit that first album, but on that first album, there's a lot of Yes. Chris Squire on there. And that disappeared on the second record. And you didn't see it at all on the third record.
No.
But this has it. Since this sounds like nothing else in their catalog, they're very creative. It works. Who would have thought that they would have had something that's almost a spoken word? Whatever it is. Um, what good love? I'm going to be saying a lot of the same thing. What good is love? Heavy guitars ring out, almost arena rock, turns into a Mellotron fest. Heavy, almost Middle Eastern. There's nothing else like it in their catalog. It's a listening pleasure. The whole record is just, it's fun. Come on. Back to the Hunt, we got straight ahead rock and rolls. It reminds me of Deep Purple. 100% Deep Purple. The vocals, the organ, it's Deep Purple for me. It sounds like Deep Purple. It's all too much, which Pete digs. I don't know if he digs it, but I think he kind of likes it. Beatles cover, and I'll give the Hunt a pass. They make it their own, and it doesn't make me want to vomit over in the corner. So good for them. Ain't Got You, guitars are in your face, straight ahead rocker, killer drums. I can't imagine. I wrote on here, I can't imagine why this track didn't take off.
Yeah, good one.
Based on this track, if you just listen to one track, listen to this. This is total. This should have been a hit record. It's great. Why? I don't know. And then we end on Tell Me Why. Acoustic guitar. There's a theme. All these records end on a nice acoustic track, almost like a power ballad, I guess. This reminds me of the way it starts out. It reminds me of I'm Only Dreaming from the first album. Very majestic, powerful, but when the electric guitars hit, it hits with a vengeance. It almost reminds me of the Moody Blues, and some of the Moody Blues tracks are very majestic sounding. This is kind of like that. It gives me Moody Blues, Iron Maiden, and well, how could we not go on a show without mentioning Grand Funk? It kind of reminds me of I'm Your Captain to some degree.
Yeah, there's a
So
little.
there you go. This is probably their peak in creativity. I don't know, but I think that first record is damn creative, and I can hardly wait to talk about it. So I'll throw it over to you. What's your number two?
Yeah, it's my number two as well, and it was my number one early on.
It could be.
Yeah, because it's really good. I think if I were to say, if someone were to ask me, well, I can't get all three, which is the place I should start? This might be the album to start with because it gives you a little, a bit of the first album and a little bit of the second album. It's like a little bit of both. I think your best kind of variety is on this album. You mentioned fun. I think the first album to me is just a little bit more fun than this one,
Yeah.
but this is really, really good. I mean, it's got an amazing opener. If only we had tried it's just never ending riffs and the blazing lead guitar. All right. So I was kind of waiting to see like where you would go with like influences and things. So we hinted at that at the beginning of the episode. So
Okay.
Standing on the Road, another really good rocker. There's a little bit of quirkiness in this song that reminds me of the Tubes. It
Mhm.
reminds me of Max Webster and a little bit of Utopia.
There you
I think
go.
it's
I
the way
see
they
that.
layer the vocals and the way they kind of play off each other. I think it's
Mhm.
really good. A little bit of love is really catchy. They do a great job on that. I think it's a good cover. The covers on this album, I think, are quite good. Uh, she Flew Freely. It might be the sleeper track on here. I mean, it's just big, it's heavy, it's crunchy. You know what it
Yeah.
reminds me of? Another
Mhm.
Canadian band, Moxie. But
Yeah.
then I hear that kind of very similar type element in the other song. I hear a little bit of Utopia again. And I think it's the way they layer the vocals on this album. I hear like Road to Utopia, that era of Utopia, like the early 80s, so same time period. Heartbender's kind of grinding, kind of bluesy like that. What Good Is Love is memorable. Back on the Hunt is great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just lean,
Straight
mean hard
ahead.
rock. Oh. ball busting, just yeah,
Yeah,
love that. I think their cover of "It's All Too Much" is very well done.
hmm
It's very well
I
done.
agree.
They don't
I agree.
embarrass themselves at all because tackling a Beatles song, not something just any band can do,
No.
obviously. And I think the closer is good. And "Ain't Got You" is also a good, fast paced, just rock and roll song. I do want to mention,
Yep.
if now we've talked about how they reissued these albums on Daffodil Records. So the reissue of this has a slew of other bonus tracks previously unreleased, but no information about where they come from or what. And I will say there's some terrific songs on here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like another like what 10 songs on here or whatever close to it. Fantasy Mansion, She Opens My Eyes, The Mexican, Give Me Some Lovin', Yesterday's Hero, Love is a Happy Song, I've Been Waiting for So Long, It's My Life, and Take a Piece of My Life. I don't know where these songs are from because they don't say anything about them, but they're all really good. So whether this was supposed to be another Hunt album that didn't come out or just leftovers from the sessions, I don't know. But if you're gonna go out and get this stuff, get this version because you get like two albums in one here. But the second album is really, really good. Really good. Could be my number one on any other day.
Well, after the band broke up, they did end up putting out an EP of tracks. And I don't know, I didn't go back and cross-reference what was on the EP
So maybe
to
it's
what
that and
was on
some
here.
unused stuff from the first
It
two.
could be some of that. This could, I think they're all leftovers or something from different albums, but I think it's equally as strong. I'm glad you brought it up, but we have
I
no
gotta say,
information. We have no info. There's very little information on this band.
I mean, for
And
the
I
record
don't,
label, I mean, come on, guys. You're putting all these bonus tracks, and there is nothing in here to let you know where these songs come from or when they were recorded. I mean, Jesus. It's great that you put them on here, but for nerds like us, we want to know this stuff, right? So,
yeah, are these rejects? Where era were they from? We have no idea. Now, if anybody down below can straighten us out, I'd love to
yes.
know
Hey,
because
I
I
would
could
love to
make
know.
notes and I can go, oh, well, this track's from here. Oh, that's cool. But
Would love
I
to know.
don't, we need more info.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the hunt.
The Hunt. So my number one. Well, our number one. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I don't think that the album artwork is all that hot,
No.
but whatever. And they look like Orleans on the back, or maybe the Pablo Cruz record, but
Yes. Yeah.
they're even like that on the inside.
Yeah,
So
that's I don't know. Whoever came up with that is just needs to be fired, right?
now there's no bonus tracks. There's no bonus tracks on the third record and the first record, just the second record. So yeah, get the second record. I probably would start out with that.
Yeah.
So this record, band guitar player brought the Hunt together after the breakup of what was it, Dillinger?
Dillinger, yeah.
Yeah. Debut album 1977. We have a blend of hard rock and prog. Um, we've been talking heavy riffs. We've been talking great dynamic vocals. They're on here.
Oh yeah.
Uh, okay, my notes. This did become a big hit in Texas, and no one else cared about it. So it was a big one in Texas. So the opening track, "I Was Only Dreaming," starts out with acoustic guitar, flute comes in. I'm thinking, this kind of sounds like Traffic, kind of sounds like Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
It almost has like a late 60s vibe. And then as the track goes into it, it amps up. Basically, this is the way I look at it. Essentially take Yes, Tull, Zeppelin, and Traffic, combine them in a pot and stir them up because the vocals here are very Led Zeppelin like.
Oh, total Robert Plant. That
Total
totally
Robert
Robert
Plant.
Plant.
And I've never heard a mix of all these influences in one track.
This is
What
one of the coolest songs that's like new to me that I've heard in a while. It's a killer opener because after, like you said, it's like all these different elements are hitting you all at the same time and it works.
is there anything else that you hear in that track?
You said it. It's like Zeppelin meets Tull meets Traffic. It just boom.
You
Big riffs, Hammond.
Whoever's watching this show, please go out and listen to this.
So cool.
Freaking incredible. But
Yeah.
I like the production. The drums are hard hitting.
Yeah.
I wrote on here, I am very impressed.
Yeah.
Catchy, blah, blah, blah. All right, track two, song for the day. This is where we get the galloping. It gallops along as any good Iron Maiden song. It's more of a straightforward rock song. You still have that yes bass, those yes bass lines. Sounds like Chris Squire's on here. I wrote on my notes that the drums absolutely kill. Paul Kearnsey is great. What a good drummer.
Yeah.
Man, he's flashy. His drums sound really good too. Kind of tight. I don't know. I don't know how they're tuned, but I kind of dig it. And I wrote on here, it kind of reminds me of the vocals of Greta Van Fleet. And I said this might be the perfect blend of rock and prog. Very memorable. Top strong melodies, top-notch arrangements and productions. I don't know. What do you think about this song?
I love it. And it's catchy, very
Yeah.
melodic. Yeah.
Isn't it the melodies on this? The whole record's very memorable.
Yeah.
It checks all the boxes for me, you know. I I wish I had something to complain about. I don't. Little Miss Perfection, heavy organ track, Queen like backgrounds. It's not Queen backgrounds, but you know what I mean. Very layered. And I put it in here. Could this be a single? You know, the flute's back, the soaring guitars, the killer drums. The organ reminds me of Deep Purple with a hint of Heat sprinkled on top.
How
That's
about a
what I
little
wrote.
angel? I'm hearing a little first angel.
Little Angel would work.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you like all these bands that we've mentioned, you might want to check it out. Fourth track, I Want to Be King. This is where the full transformation to Deep Purple is. Um, for me, it sounds just like Purple.
Yeah, it totally does.
Uh,
Those guitar solos are just terrific. Terrific.
trying to look what I wrote. These should like distant at the. I don't even know what I wrote. I can't even read what I wrote. I love this track, but it is very Deep Purple-ish.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on it before I go to the next one?
And we all everybody knows how much I love Deep Purple. So yeah, it's one of the standouts on here. But there's more to come because the next one is a total killer as well.
Well, you know what this reminds me of? One of my favorite bands from 1979, Faces. We're full tilt prog way it starts out, but then it kind of morphs into like an aviary track to me. Backgrounds are majestic, guitar solos pop up. It sounds like the best David Gilmour guitar solo you've never heard.
Heard.
That's what I wrote. Don't you think
Yeah.
it sounds like David Gilmour?
It's got that emotional kind of
I
piece to
thought,
it, which I think works. Yeah. And it's
oh,
just a great track. I mean, it's heavy, but it's proggy. It's got that pomp thing going on, right? Like, so folks, if you watched our pomp rock episode from a couple weeks back, you'll love this song because there's elements aviary. I hear a lot of sticks like Crystal Ball,
yeah.
Equinox, there are sticks here too. Just great vocals, lovely keyboards, soaring harmonies, great guitars. I mean, just really, really good stuff here.
Wish I could I wish I had something negative, but I have absolutely
No, this
nothing negative about this band. Absolutely brilliant. Um, Billy's track six, kind of like a boogie woogie straight ahead rock and roll track.
yeah,
The vocals remind me of Nick Gilder or maybe Sweeney Todd, another obscure Canadian band.
yeah.
Uh, but it does kind of remind me of Nick Gilder. Brian's his vocals kind of Nick Gilderish, but then you've got a lot of Robert Plant. It's very unique. And here on this record, I want to mention compared to the second album, uh, Brian sounds a little bit more hopped up on this record, more of his higher register, more Getty like, but no, he's not like Getty.
No, not quite.
Because the second album, he's not quite as in that upper register. You know, it's like it's not as this record's pretty going like at 100% the whole time. Uh, but Billy, that's what I hear. Sweeney Todd or Nick Gilder, which is I don't know, pops into my head. But it's pretty straightforward. It's great.
Yeah.
You got
I
anything
get a
on
little like stars, maybe like the second or
Stars?
third album. It's just kind of just good rocky boogie kind of stuff, just good stuff.
But still, it sounds like The Hunt.
Yeah.
Even though I hear these elements, it is distinctly The Hunt. No one sounds like this band. Maybe that was, well, you would think that that would have been a good thing, but whatever. It is what it is. Number seven tracks, Scent. We'll see a lot of constant same themes over and over. Layered guitars. You get a lot of layered guitars. You get that Hammond, get that Deep purple Hammond sound. Backgrounds, absolutely wonderful. A little bit more of a subdued track, uh, it sounds to me sweet comes to mind with a little bit of southern AOR sprinkled in.
Yep.
Um, Not really, but that's what pops into my head. I mean, it doesn't sound like southern rock, but it's a little bit more subdued than the tracks that,
Not as
were
bombastic
earlier
as
on the
the other ones.
record.
Yeah, good
Bombastic.
melodies, but yeah, not as kind of in your face. Yeah.
I mean, do you hear anybody in that?
Not really. Nothing, I mentioned when I was listening to this, I hear little bits of bands like Angel quite
Mhm.
often, but it's not, they don't really, it's just the way they kind of mix in these great harmonies with all the bigness of the guitars and the keyboards and whatnot. But this
Yeah.
song is a little bit more melodic, a little bit more laid back, but still really, really good, very memorable.
Now, this, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it.
On Reviant and however
On
the rest of it
Vivriant,
is,
the
yeah.
only, and this is like a total departure.
It's funky.
It's funky. You've got funk bass. It's sung in French.
Yeah.
Is this meant for the clubs? Because it doesn't fit the record, but I'm listening to it and I'm going, I don't know, I'm down.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at these
good.
guys.
Yeah, it's good.
Sung in French, it sounds like nothing else on the album. You've got Strat sounds on here with heavy chorus. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything. I don't know if this was supposed to be the single or what. I'm glad it's on here. Yeah, it kind of sticks out, but it's accessible. I wrote on here, man, The Hunt is a pretty wild band as far as what they tackle. Production, organs, top notch.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fun. I have no idea what he's saying, but hey, damn Canadians, what can I do? It's just the way it is. I mean, do you hear anything in that?
No,
It
I
just
I
sounds
just
like
know I
them
like it.
playing a funky track.
Yeah, I just know I like it. The guitar riffing is kind of cool. It's just got a groove to it. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. Number nine, sad song.
Yeah,
Here we this is where it all starts out. You've got that kind of a folky acoustic track. I swear I hear banjo on here.
it could be.
It sounds like banjo. I could be wrong, but I don't know what else it would be. Banjo, organ, acoustic, great backgrounds. I love it. What a way to end a record. And you can see that they do a song like this on every album at
And
the
then,
end of
you mentioned that Gilmore-ish kind of emotional guitar solo from the
Mhm.
other track. He does one of them just like it here on
Yeah.
the close out of the song. It's got a totally scorching, just gutsy emotional guitar solo. Love it. Great way to end the album.
Underrated band that no one knows about. I
Uh,
give this a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. I give them all. I mean, there might be one thing to like, you don't like the cup, you don't like Fire. All right, maybe give that album a 9. But still, me personally, they could all move around in the ranking depending on my mood.
that's the only song I had anything bad to say about.
And I like
It's
it.
a classic song. I just don't really care for their
I
rendition.
like it because you got the devil singing on it in the backgrounds and it made me chuckle.
Yeah.
At least that's what I hear. I think it's fine. It's okay. Can you take it so seriously as the rest of the tracks? No, kind of like this track that's in French. Do I take it as being serious? Well, they're having fun, and they can pull it off. So
Yeah.
that would be our number one
Yeah. Yeah.
today.
Today anyway. Yeah. I could easily see being swayed to pick this one because this is really strong. But I think I have the most fun with the debut, even though that's a
Yeah.
fun album too. And sometimes fun is a good thing. But like I said, I could make a case for any of these because on a day where I'm feeling like I'm just feeling the muscle and the muscularity of muscularity of the metalness of this album,
Mhm.
I could easily say, well, this is the best album because that's the mood I'm in, right? So
Correct.
yeah, all three are
And
really good.
like
And
we said, I could see what their trajectory would have been. I
yeah.
could see where this band would have went, and
Oh
it's a
yeah.
shame that we never got to see it.
Yeah, I think a fourth album, kind of in the vein of this, but maybe even with the commercialness of this,
Mhm.
could have done big business, on the right record label with the right push. And again, yeah, the band weren't they didn't really have the look, right? So they're not really fit for the MTV era, sadly. But for folks who are looking to discover old music that is new to them, and you like just good hard rock music with a little bit of pop and prog, this band is one you need to check out. And I'm going to be looking for those Dillinger albums for sure.
Sounds like a follow-up episode.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Because even though there's only two, that could be a nice quick one just to kind of put the finishing touches on this whole story because obviously we've only told part of it. So,
Yeah, there you
so,
go.
so we'll see. So Grant and I will reconvene and look into Dillinger, and if it warrants a quick follow-up, maybe we'll do that. So,
I can hardly wait to look into that catalog just
yeah,
between us
yeah,
because I love this so much. I know I keep repeating myself, but sometimes you find a band that you've missed over your entire life, and then when you finally hear it, I know people, there's a lot of great new music out there. There's also a lot of great undiscovered gems.
older music that you
And
never.
I love finding stuff. It's like an archaeological dig. And, the whole community that we have here, where everybody's always making comments and recommending things. That's what's great about this. This is what's great about YouTube. This is what's great about your channel. So what's great about the Contrarians is that it's like a community and we can learn so much from everybody watching,
Yeah,
and to find a gem that someone recommends makes I feel like my work, I feel like I've accomplished something because it's all about the music. And
yeah.
please do yourself a favor. Please do yourself a favor. Check
Check out
this
the.
catalog out.
You might have just discovered your favorite new band that's an old band, right? Yeah.
And I love it. Like Aviary. Again, if you haven't done that yet, please go out and check out that Aviary, that first Aviary album. Please. I keep talking about Aviary. I
So
can't
good.
help it. Pete,
So
I'm
good.
just giddy.
Yep. So there you have it, everybody. Ranking the three albums of The Hunt. For those of you who are well aware of this band, and I know that you're out there, Gary, I know Gary's been listening to these all week, right? So rank them as you like them down in the comments below. And if you haven't gone out and listened to them, well, there's only three albums, and each one is only like 30 some odd minutes long. So you can go out and check them all out pretty easily. And I'm sure once you do, you'll be wanting to add these to your collection because this is a great discovery and a really, really good band. And we'll be hopefully talking about Dillinger in the not too distant future, right? Grant and I are also working on, like I said, it's going to take a while because the catalogs are big, but we got Black Oak, Arkansas, and Poco on the to-do list. So that's coming in the weeks and months ahead.
I've started Poco.
Okay.
Now, a lot of that, and this is another one thing we've talked about. This seems to be the thing that you and I do. Going to these bands. Poco, I knew Poco. Had I went down that road in my life? No, but man, I've been starting to get these twofers.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
lot that are really well done. Yeah. Yep.
okay, these BGO ones. Excellent. Oh my God. I picked this up because I kind of screwed up because there are two for actually there was that original album series. I should have got that. I didn't realize there was one, so I was getting these and I ended up getting this, but I could have saved some money, and got the original album series. That's always wonderful, but
Yeah.
whatever.
First
I'm
five.
slowly getting them. And this is another band. Man, how did I really miss Poco? I don't know. We'll get to that. I
It's
don't know
yeah, I
when we'll
mean
be
it's
ready, but I'm working on
to
it.
me it was always a greatest hits type band. And then you realize like, well, they had a lot of other great songs that never made it onto those greatest hits albums. And yeah, it's
I don't know. We'll
whatever.
see. I'll be looking forward to when we get to that. Who knows when that'll be, but I'll be ready and I'll be looking forward to talking to him.
Here you go. What's get us caught up on what's happening over at the warehouse
Uh,
and on the Contrarians in
what
the
is
coming
going on in the
this week?
warehouse? I think I'm caught up. We did a oh, I think I mentioned that before. We did Huey Lewis in the news ranking. We just did a ranking. Stephen Schnee came on the show. We just ranked the albums of The Fix, which was fun. Been doing a lot of album rankings because people like that. We've
Yeah.
had a lot of requests about doing Greg Kinn since we just lost him over the past week. So I don't know if I can get that together, but maybe. Uh, it's a lot because there's a lot going on in the warehouse and I'm busy. And tomorrow, Sunday night, we're doing a listening party where Rachel's Ghost will be on and we will be playing tracks from the 70s. Monday night, we're looking at 1982. So that'll be a live show because there's a Hudson Valley Squares on Monday, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that works out because if we do a show before Hudson Valley Squares, we benefit from that.
So actually, you know how it works. So while I'm taping in the product seat, which we tape before Hudson Valley Squares, you're doing your
Mhm.
live show, and then when your live show is done, everybody hops over on Hudson Valley Squares. So because that goes on, right? We do that.
It's perfect. So I keep trying, all right, everybody, we have to have a show prior to Hudson Valley Squares because we get like 70, 80 people watching. And that's good for me. I'm very happy with that. And it's a big show and it gets good numbers. So
Yeah, yeah.
you gotta you gotta ride the wave when you can. So
Monday night programming. We call it
I
Monday
know
night.
you've got it all figured out, and I'm just hopping on for the ride.
Monday night is a good night for programming. I think people are, they were busy over the weekends and doing whatever, and Monday they're getting down to business and everyone's back to
Oh,
work. And by Monday night, they're like, all right, I'm ready to watch some
I
fun.
want to mention this. I've booked the count on a listening party for later in September, and we are going to do all metal. We're
Nice.
concentrating on 70s metal. And then if it goes well, we'll do the 80s. So I'm thinking maybe we'll see how it goes, but maybe we can get you on for the 80s metal. Maybe you, me, and the count in a listening party.
We can probably do that Sunday
But
night.
that'd be like in October. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
People have
Sounds.
been wanting it, and I said, and they said, we want the. Can you get the count on a listening party?
Count Ravels will be perfect for it. He's
Oh, he's ready.
yeah.
He's probably already starting his list. But that might be fun. I know we've done a couple yacht rock, but it might
Yep.
be fun to get you on a metal one and maybe do like a trifecta.
And we can do it on the metal night. We can do an all prog night. We can do a fusion
We
night.
could
Hey,
do a
whatever.
prog night.
Yeah.
I don't know. There you can do so much. I've never done a fusion night, so that might be something fun.
Yeah.
But it's always something going on in the warehouse, and it's fun. And Sunday's a good. I know I'm rambling on. Sunday's a good night because there's not much going on, and people start their work week on Monday, and doing the listening parties. What a way to end your Sunday evening, you know?
Have a drink, sit back, listen to some tunes, right?
Yeah, it's fun. It's great to have guests because it's always fun to have. What do they want to play? You've done it. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
just a great hang. So
Yeah.
anyway, later in the month, the count for anyone who's a fan of the count, and there's a lot here.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
Cool.
So
So you heard it here first. Count Ralphus will be joining Grant at the warehouse for a listening party. 70s metal coming up in a few
he's
weeks.
metal. Yeah, probably. I think so. In middle of September, I think we've got it booked.
Okay.
So
Cool.
be great.
That should be great. Cool. We look forward to that. And let's see, what do we got coming up here? Well, like Grant mentioned, we got Hudson Valley Squares tomorrow. We're going to be talking about our favorite albums from 1972. That's coming up tomorrow, and all sorts of other stuff this week as I get back into the regular swing of things after recovering from this COVID nonsense. So, yeah, as far as what's ranking the albums next week, it'll likely be a solo show of just myself. I don't exactly know what it'll be yet because next week I'm pretty busy with other things. So I'll have to do a solo ranking myself, but I'll figure it out over the next 2 days and I will announce it to everybody so everybody can get their listening in before we get to Sunday. So till then, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Should be tonight. A little bit of change in scheduling. We were hoping to do it yesterday, but tonight we should see the next episode of the What Is It series. So Grant, myself, Scott Lade, and Brendan Snyder will be talking all about Steely Dan. What the hell is Steely Dan? We'll figure it out. Wait and see. That'll be coming at you tonight. So till then, for Grant, Arthur, Ryan, Pete Pardo, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week here on Ranking the Albums. Take care.
Go get the hunt.
Go get the hunt. Do it. 3 albums. Check them out.